Howdy, folks. Tex here. Welcome to Southern Belle Bigfoot. Let me introduce y'all to a great friend of mine, Selena.
Hey y'all, I'm Selena. I started this channel because I had my own encounter, and I know what it's like to be ridiculed and unable to share my experiences. I want to give everyone a safe haven to share their encounters with these magnificent beings. I love to hear yours as well. Please email them to me at cwlenagarrett@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support me in my journey to the truth, my Cash App is $Selena Bigfoot, and I look forward to hearing from you. Hi, everybody. How are y'all? I've missed you so much. Lord of mercy, it feels like forever since I got to see your names and everything. We have a wonderful guest tonight. Y'all know Miss Brenda Harris is going to be here, and I just absolutely am on the edge of my seat wanting to hear her story. So, anyways, y'all just buckle up, cover up with a blanket, and get ready for this scary story. Anyways, I want to tell you, Sharon, my Rose of Sharon, Mickey G, Eddie and Jen, the vlogs, you know, we love you, Keith and Lauren, and anybody else I've missed that has went up too fast for me. Thank you so much for coming and joining us tonight. And Miss Brenda, come on out. We're so excited. There she
Thank you
is.
for having me on.
I have been giving little hints all week long, just a touch of what I heard on one of your interviews. And I thought, Lord, if I was in that situation, I have no idea what I'd do. So without further ado, we are ready to hear a little bit about you and how you know these things are real.
Well, for one thing, I've seen many of them down here in New Mexico. I live in the area of a community called Upper Fruitland, and it's about, I believe, 10 or 11 miles west of Farmington, New Mexico. And so I live about maybe a quarter of a mile from the San Juan River. And so that's where a lot of these things, they like to hang around the rivers.
Yes.
So we've had quite a few of them that have come up on our property. And so, yeah, like I said, my name's Brenda Harris, and I was born in Shiprock, New Mexico, and I was raised in Farmington, New Mexico. And uh, I now reside up here in Upper Fruitland, which is on the reservation. And so this is where I actually had my first encounter with Bigfoot. And and I've shared this story many times. When my mom and dad would take us out to Pinon, Arizona, to go see my grandma, my grandparents, and then we'd leave the house maybe around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and there's this lady on the Navajo hour. They talk about what's going on around on the reservation, so they speak in the Navajo language. And so there's this, my dad would, he made like this makeshift bed in the pickup. So we're all in the camper, we're all asleep. We'll wake up when we get to grandma's. It takes about a 4-hour drive. So we left the house, I'm going to say about maybe 3 or 4, I'm going to say about 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. There are times we left about 3. But anyway, we get down the road, and there's an area that's called Kirtland, New Mexico, just outside of Farmington, heading west. And I remember going on that old Kirtland Highway, and Mom and Dad were listening to the Navajo Hour. Well, what caught my attention was the lady that was talking about the San Juan River, and she would say, "Don't be going down there. There's a monster down there." I'm like, "What is she talking?" So I asked my mom and dad. I said, "What is she talking about? There's a monster down there." See, they thought that I was asleep. We were all asleep. Oh, it's nothing. Just go to sleep. I'll wake you up. So I'm like, all right. So throughout the summertime, that we would go out and visit my grandma out that way. Several times, and there was another time when she would say the same thing, but she would say yaitso. Don't go down at the river late at night. Yaitso is down there. I'm like, what is a yaitso? And again, I asked mom and dad. Oh, it's nothing. Just go to sleep. And it's like, okay, And then I remember when we were going down the road, on the old Kirtland Highway. Um, my dad slams on the brake, and my mom says, "Yee, yeah, what was that?" In other words, she's saying kind of like, "Yikes, yee," you know. She's like, "Yee, yeah, what is that?" It ran on two legs right in front of the truck, right across the road in front of us. Was jumped, and we all kind of jumped. What was it? What was it? Oh, it's nothing, Mom. I remember my mom. You know, the tone of someone getting scared. You know, it's a different kind of tone. You know, and we're like, kind of, what was that? You know, and they said it was all black. You know, it was all hair, had hair all over it. Was running across the road, and I just remember her saying, "Yeah, yeah, what was that? It ran in front of us." You know, my dad slammed on the brake. I remember that, and they were all like, "What was it? What was it?" Oh, it's nothing. You know, they wouldn't say because they didn't want us to get scared. And so the next time again, we were up and ready to go again, to head out to Grandma's again. Same thing. Again, they were listening to Navajo Hour, and the lady was, you know, talking about different things on the reservation in Navajo. And this time she says, "Don't go down to the river. There's a Sasquatch at the river." So I'm like, "What is this Sasquatch? What is this lady talking about?" You know. And so I asked again, my mom, my parents, what is she talking about? A monster first, and then the Yaitso, and now she's saying the Sasquatch. What's a Sasquatch? Oh, it's nothing. Just go to sleep. We'll wake you up when we get to Grandma's. So they wouldn't say, you know, they wouldn't tell. I don't know if they even knew what it was either. So as I got older, you know, the movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Yes.
Okay, now in that movie, you know, kind of like at the beginning of the movie, the guys are all talking and stuff, and then as a teenager, I was sitting there watching it in the theaters, and the guy says Sasquatch, and you know, oh, the light came on, you know, like I remember that name. I remember that lady on Navajo Hour was saying that same name, Sasquatch. Now I'm sitting there in the theater. I was like, what is a Sasquatch? So later on in the movie, then you see this big old black hairy creature. When I seen that, that's a Sasquatch. I'm like, oh man, you mean that's at the San Juan River down at the river? I was like, wow, you know, I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, I thought, you know, they usually stay out in the mountains, way up in the mountains somewhere, but no, they kind of, you know, roam around the rivers down this way. But that's, you know, how I got to kind of got introduced into this Bigfoot stuff, you know. And so, but yeah, that's where it pretty much kind of started at a very young age. You know, I've always been curious and wanted to know what it was. You know, what is this thing? What is it doing? Why is it here? But I never said to my parents about, you know, I wanted to kind of like learn more. You know, I wanted to see what this thing is. You know, I never said anything that I was getting into, you know, this Bigfoot stuff. You know, like I know they'll probably get all mad at me, and you need to, you know, stay out of that. You know, but yeah, that really kind of drew me in to.
Well, when did you get the pleasure of seeing one of them things?
Oh, I have plenty.
Well,
But yeah,
boy,
that's where it started. And I've been on many shows, you know, radio shows, TV shows. I've been on Finding Bigfoot twice, and Monsters and Mysteries, and Ghost Adventures, and what was the other one? Um, I know I'm missing a couple of them.
wow, that's
Yeah, so
awesome.
I've been on several TV shows
Well,
as
congratulations.
well.
That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they've been very interesting. The latest one was oh yeah, Unsolved Mysteries with the Navajo Rangers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I love that on Netflix.
yes, I was on that
Oh my
show with them.
gosh, I watched
Hmm.
that twice. How did I
Yeah.
not see you there? I
I don't
can't
know.
believe it. But I remember them doing the pen. Was it quarters or pennies?
The quarter. I think it was a quarter. I
Oh
believe. I think it
wow,
was a quarter. Yeah.
that story blew
Yeah.
my mind. So I
Yeah.
was,
They're very nice guys. Very professional. I tell you, they know a lot. They've encountered a lot of things here out on the reservation. And they've got, you know, so many calls on different things, you know, that's roaming out there. And so, yeah, it's been pretty busy, pretty active here as well, you know. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I do. I still do go invest. I haven't posted anything yet, but we do have a lot of activity going on along the rivers in our area and out in the mountains in the Chuska Mountains, of course, Colorado Mountains and Utah Mountains as well. Yeah, there's a lot of activity going on. We've had some sheep that's been killed, you know, eaten. They're hungry. So usually during the harvest time, which is they like the corn, the melons, the onions, potatoes, and stuff like that. So us farmers out here, we grow a lot of that stuff. So come harvest time, that's when they all start coming out and roaming everybody's gardens, and they're all eating, you know. So well, they're hungry. So there's no like no nothing for them to eat other than just the little critters that's along the rivers. We used to get a lot of deer in our property, but since these things have come in, we hardly see any deer at all. And so I've gotten reports of it taking small animals, chickens, ducks, dogs and cats and all. And so, like I said, right now they're hungry. So now they're after whatever they can get.
Mm. Well, you know what I'm waiting to hear, right? I heard
Okay.
that you had an incident at your home. Is that correct?
Yes, is this the one where this thing was standing at the door?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
girl. Mm.
Okay. Well, on that what had happened was my husband. It happened in just summertime, and we were. Um, I had my kids and their cousins that came over to spend the night. But this happened in the early, I'm saying maybe mid 90s, I believe it was, if I remember right. My husband was working the graveyard shift, and so I had all the windows, like the kitchen window, the living room, our bedroom window was open. My husband had just left the house about 10:30 that night, and the kids were all laughing and just having fun. I'm gonna say about maybe 30. So must have been about 11 o'clock, I'm assuming. After he had left, I had heard oh something walking on gravel, real heavy. Now, what really caught my attention was we had two, I think it was two dogs. They were underneath the porch and they were crying, really whimpering. And so I'm like, oh man, what the heck? So and then I started hearing. So in our walkway at that time, we were in a mobile home, and so we had a porch. So you're walking up the porch, and when you just before you step onto the steps, we had gravel, and so I just happened to go into the bedroom, and I heard gravel, something moving like gravel, stepping on the gravel, walking on. And that's when I also started hearing the dogs really whimpering. So I'm like, what in the world? So it got real quiet. And I told all the kids, just be quiet. I think there's someone outside. And so, we're all just kind of looking at each other at that time. As a matter of fact, my brother was there too. And so we're all just standing there and we're just waiting, and then, porches, when you walk on the porches, it just depends on how long you've had the porch. Sometimes they start squeaking, right?
Yeah.
And so I started hearing something, and I hear something open the screen door. And I was like, okay, what? And I thought, it's just my husband. He's back, He's maybe he forgot something. Then a few minutes later, a few seconds later, I see the doorknob move and turning. But I had already locked the door, the doorknob and the deadlock. I had locked those already. And so it started really trying to turn the doorknob. I'm like, what in the world? And at the same time, I still hear the dogs whimpering. And I told the kids, get behind me, come stand over here. So I'm like, what in the world? What the heck? So I told my brother, open the door. let's see what it is. We were all scared. I mean, we all just got really, we froze,
Yeah.
because we didn't know what it was. And so swung the door open, and all I see is this black, tall, hairy thing standing in front of us. And I'm like, what? You know, I couldn't make out the face because the hair was just covered the face, and the color of the hair to me at that time looked black, and it wasn't very muscular. It was tall and kind of skinny, scraggy looking, kind of skinny looking, but that the hair, it was covered all in hair, and I was like, what? I'm like, no, no, this can't be what I think it is. So it's like we just stopped and looked at each other, and it just darted off to the porch. I mean, it ran off. So I looked at my brother, and then I'm like, and the kids behind, what was it? Well, I'm like, oh, it's nothing. This is, I'll go to bed. You know. Now I sound like my mom and dad. Oh, it's nothing. Just go to sleep. And so I told them, so I didn't know what to make of it. We got scared. So I just shut down everything, locked the doors. I just turned off the lights, go to bed. So we went to sleep, where everybody's going to sleep. The dogs still would not come out of underneath the porch. They were still whimpering. They were so scared.
Bless them.
So probably about 10, 15 minutes later, this thing comes back. And it does the same thing. I'm like, what in the world? What's it want? Now, this happened throughout the whole night. I would turn the lights on and it would take off. 2 o'clock rolls around, about 1 o'clock rolls around, it comes back and starts doing the same thing again. So this time I got up and I looked at, because the master bedroom, the window is just right where you can see someone walking onto the porch. So I looked without trying to make any kind of noise. I looked out the window, and I was looking on the porch, and I'm like, there it is. All I see is this black thing, tall thing, standing there. I'm like, what does it want? Why is it trying to get in? What's it doing? And I flipped on the light, and it took off again. So I was looking at my brother like, oh man, what do you think? You think it's a I already knew what it was.
Did it make any noises or anything? Or
no, it didn't make any noise, but it smelled bad. The smell was bad. And I told my brother, I said, he's like, maybe it's a skinwalker. And I'm like, I don't think it's a skinwalker, not this thing, no. And so I just shut everything off again, shut the lights back off, went back to sleep. About 15 minutes later, it came back. By this time, okay, so that was about 1 o'clock. And it seemed like it would come every, maybe about an hour would go by and it would come back. So at 3 o'clock, it came back and did the same thing. So I'm like, okay, what in the world? What? By this time, I'm kind. What? I'm going to go see what this thing, what it is. I just want to know.
You was fed up.
So yeah, because we're all scared. Like, what is this thing going to kill us? What is it? What is it going to do? Why is it trying to come in? Still to this day, when I go back and think about it, still, what did it want? Why did it want to come in? What was the purpose of it? Every now and then I still think about it like that was very 3 o'clock. Like I said, it came back at 3. I remember that time, 3 o'clock, did the same thing. And, kept turning that doorknob. I flipped the light on. I'm like, okay, this time I left the lights on. I looked at my brother. I said, listen, I'm going to go drive around to see where this thing is at. And he goes, okay, I'm going to go with you. So we locked the kids, we left all the lights on. And I said, just stay in here. I put them in the closet and we both take off in the truck. So now remember, the dogs are still crying and whimpering underneath the porch. And so when they hopped into the truck, they still wouldn't follow. So about halfway down towards the end, but just before the end of the road, they're heading north. I see a couple of the dogs finally came out, start running alongside us. Now then I turned to the west at the end of the field to make kind of like a loop around behind our home to see where this thing is at. Had I just watched the dogs, just watched the dogs, I would have saw this thing. So at the west, heading west at that corner, so I was going to like do a turn at the end of the field. The dogs stopped and they started crying and they hightailed back home. So at the corner of the field, west of the field, that corner there where I just passed, that thing was in the shrubs stuck down there, and I passed it. And so I drove all the way back, heading back south, drove right behind the house, and I didn't see anything, and I just drove back in. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where it's at, and we went back inside. About 15 minutes later that we laid back down, this thing came back again. And I'm like, I just like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to just watch it and see what happens. I was just, I don't know what it wanted. I really don't know, and why was it bothering us? And that was really scary. I stayed up that whole night until daylight. Once daylights, started up, started kind of getting light, this thing was gone. It took off. I don't know where it went. It probably went up into the hills behind our home, probably a cave back there or something. That's probably where it maybe might have been staying. And so, but that's what happened that night. That was really scary. My kids were like, really scared. What was that? I'm like, I don't know. So my husband comes pulling up about 7 o'clock. I told him was going on through that night. And he didn't believe me. Because he thought I was just making it up. I'm like, no. I said, go ask, go ask my brother. He'll tell you because he saw it too, And so I said, okay, let's go walk around the house. And we walked behind the house, and guess what? There was a footprint. A footprint that had 3 toes. I wish at that time I would have took a picture of it. You remember the movie now? I'm gonna go back to the movie, the Legend of Bog Creek. When the 2 guys are down at the river, and that footprint that they found had 3 toes. That's the exact same footprint that was behind our home, right by my kids' bedroom window, just there on the ground.
By your kid's bedroom
yeah,
window.
yep,
It's scary enough
yep,
that it be by yours, but your kid's bedroom
yep,
window.
yep. And
Double the worry.
when he saw that, he's like, didn't know what to say. I said, see, I'm not lying. I wished I would have took a picture or even cast it. I didn't even think about doing that. That was just a scary night. So that was what was going through my mind. I had kids there. You want to protect your kids, and you don't want anything, bad to happen to them. So you just, pretty much stay put and stuff. And yeah, we left the kids there, but we had someone there with them too. So, yeah, that was pretty scary.
Yes, good grief. I said the 2 biggest things that are my fears is to look up at my bedroom window and see one looking in, or be in the living room and see one looking in, or the kitchen. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Windows or doors if they're looking in,
Oh
because
yeah.
I mean they're so close, and it wouldn't take but them just pushing on it and the door would crack or something.
Oh yeah. That's true.
The power behind these things.
Yep, they like to look in the windows. They'll, even if your screen's not there, they'll put their hands through the window. Start feeling for stuff. Yeah, that's pretty scary. We've had a lot of people in our area. Oh my God, that thing is looking in the window. What they did describe to me is it has red eyes.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, what is it? Well, what's it doing? We've had, as a matter of fact, 2 years. No. It was just was it last year? Or was it early spring this year? My daughter had came back for a visit, and so she was sleeping in the living room, and she just went to sleep there. And this thing hit slapped the side of our home, and it was at about 2 o'clock in the morning,
And it's
and
loud.
it was loud. Let me tell you, she goes, "Mom, did you hear that?" I said, "Yes, I did, man." I grabbed my flashlight. We ran outside.
Yeah.
By the time it was already gone.
Mm.
And so,
Well,
yeah. So
I was just to ask you, did you ever have any kind of animals or anything hurt? Any property destroyed or anything?
I've had. What was interesting, I haven't had anything like destroyed yet or anything like that, but I've had um, trees, big chunk of trees that were left on our property. Oh, my husband didn't drag those home. And some of them were like aspen trees, and aspen trees are out there in the mountains.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, why we have this here? What's up with this? But as a matter of fact, we did have some irrigation pipes that were that had like it punched holes in the irrigation pipe. Oh, and what it was doing was it was trying to catch either a skunk or what do you call those um, raccoons that was probably ran into the pipe, and this thing was trying to catch it, and it did knock some holes. I mean, it just punched that irrigation pipe, and there's blood on like mud and stuff on there, and like it was trying to reach for to get whatever it was after in those irrigation pipes. Yep. And so yeah, we've had 2 irrigation pipes that were destroyed. Yeah.
Well, you see, you hear a lot about, the logging areas, but that they'll get out there and destroy these machines. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for these machines, and they'll just get out there and break belt after belt after belt. And I think they said they were $300 per belt, and they kept breaking them like 8 times. And
Wow.
so, I mean, I know
That's
they have their
crazy.
hands full at these logging companies, or on these logging properties. Anyways, so can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You held something up a while ago. I can't wait. I can't wait till you tell me what it's about. Do you remember
Oh,
what you held up?
okay. I
I've
will share this with
waited
you.
in suspense long enough, Miss Brenda.
Okay. So this happened not last summer, but the summer before. So what are we, 22, 35, 23, late in 23. Okay, so you see this is a can. This is a canned dog food. Okay?
Okay.
And you see all those. This happened about maybe about half a mile from where I live to the west. One of our neighbors called my husband and told me, "You need to come and set your cameras up." So something's been coming late
If
at
y'all can't
night.
see that, Miss Brenda, we need to tell. If for the ones that can't see that, that is a can with holes and puncture wounds. I'm
Yeah.
assuming from their teeth,
Yes.
where they have ripped that can
Right.
open with their teeth. Dog food.
Dog food.
Lord mercy.
So what happened was the gentleman was telling me what was going on. They said they've been hearing something walking on their porch really late at night, and the neighbors' dogs are going crazy. And so they started hearing something, rumbling through their stuff.
Mm.
And well, they had several cans of dog food. So this thing, like I said, they're hungry. So it happened about like this time during this the month of June, I believe. Or no, it was in July when it happened. Like I said, there's no harvest food, no corn, no none of that garden food veggies that are ready yet. So they'll start going through people's property looking for food, whether it be dog food, cat food, what do you call that? Crushed corn for like your livestock, or, your chickens and stuff. They like that cracked corn stuff. And so what I've been telling the people, sharing with the people is put all your livestock food, feed your animals before it gets dark. and cover it and hide it, put it somewhere. The same way with your dog food and your cat food. Get those all put up. Feed your animals before the sun goes down. Feed them early and get whatever is left over. Get those put up because of that stuff. So this thing was looking for something to eat, and the gentleman and his wife left several cans of dog food on the porch. So they found it, they ate it, all empty, and this is what they did to the can to get to the food.
Mm. We've heard so many stories about
Hmm.
when they go to get into food. See, that just blows my mind.
Hmm.
The power behind those jaws and those teeth,
Yeah.
y'all, to rip into that can and to
Yep.
eat it that way. I mean,
Hmm.
they probably didn't care how many scars and cuts they'd get on them as long as they got that food.
That's
But
right.
I remember hearing a story about some crackers or something. Uh, they had got a hold of a pack. And when they did, they didn't open it like we do, pulling it apart. They
Hmm.
real flat through the side of the
Yep.
bag. They
Hmm.
don't care about etiquette. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Open it
Yep.
the right way. It was
Yeah.
all about just ripping it open. And
Hmm.
you'd
Yeah.
be
That
surprised,
that
how
yeah.
hard it
That's
is
what.
to rip it open from that way, but they
Oh
do.
yeah. Yeah. That's what they. That's exactly what they do. You know, when the people when they contact me and ask me, this thing's coming around. So that's when I'll start asking questions like, hey, do you have dog food, cat food, livestock feed outside? Oh yeah, yeah, it's out there out in the open. We'll get that stuff put up. You know, if you guys can put these things away and feed your animals before dark, and whatever left over there is, get that put up because they're coming in and eating that stuff. And the more you leave that stuff out, they'll keep coming back. They'll know exactly where to go get the food. So we know always tell them get that stuff put up right away. So, but yeah, we've had quite a few things like that. That have happened. I had a gentleman that bought like two 50-pound bags of dog food. One whole bag was gone one night.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I mean they took the whole thing and ate it all.
Ah, Scott Carpenter. I remember Scott telling about that they would put the little juvenile up there to drag the thing of puppy chow or whatever to the edge of the porch. And I got some people that have their, what do you call it? It's not like they're conniving. They're just little tricksters to get what they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
that
because
was
they're
so.
it's because they're so bulky, so they're sending in the little ones.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
they're a little bit quiet and they can get it and drag it out quicker. So
And
but
I
yeah,
really
that
enjoyed Scott Carpenter when he talked about they had the large Sasquatch on the bottom, then they put the one that weighed less than that on top of that one's shoulders, and then they put the juvenile on top of that to get to the top of the roof to get a robin's nest to get the eggs out.
oh yeah.
And he found their fingerprints and everything all the way down the wall. So I
Oh yeah.
used to be amazed at all those stories.
Hmm.
But so do other people in your area have a lot of complaint? I mean, is it like, are you hearing about more and more sightings or encounters?
A lot of they've been hearing it yell a lot, screaming a lot.
Uh,
But as far as it actually coming onto the property, it's kind of slowed down some, but it still runs through. For us, it runs through our property quite a bit, and I know it kind of people hear it way out here by the casino area.
wow.
And there's an area where it's on the south side. There's some caves back there. These things kind of bunker down that way, and them hills back there.
Mhm.
So from the casino to the San Juan River is about maybe a quarter of a mile, I believe. So it hangs around along the rivers. And so, I tell, people, these things will, even if it's just like a trickle of water, they usually stay, close by those waters streams, the smallest stream could be the smallest streams, and then they'll just walk along until they hit the bigger waters. So bigger waters means what? Fish, more food. So That's where they like to hang around along the river because you got the fish and then you got deer because deer need to drink water. You have wildlife along the river, so that's why they stay along the river because they know that there's some food there
Mhm.
too. And if they can't find anything, guess what? They're on people's property looking for food.
That's
They'll
right.
dig,
It's
you
to
know, they'll
say
dig
that's
in
our next stop.
yeah, yeah, they'll
Somebody's address. Oh, I was going to ask you, did you hear the story about the animals that are being killed and like thrown on people's roofs and stuff?
I've my husband's aunt uncle that this happened to the end of our field here on the east side of us. Several years ago, their son had three pit bulls, and so during the summertime, one of them got thrown up in the tree, and it was dead. Another one was chained up. They were all pretty much chained up. So one got thrown on the tree. That one was dead. A few nights later, the other pit bull was how would you say had a chain, but this thing wrapped that dog along the trunk. I mean, just wrapped that dog up on the trunk of the tree.
Oh my
And
God.
I believe the third dog, I think he either took the mouth and just ripped it.
No.
And
Oh,
so we've had some incidents like that have happened. I've had a call where a lady went to go feed her horses, and one of them didn't come into where she meets all the horses to eat. She noticed that one wasn't there, so she went looking for it, and I believe it was kind of close to the river in the area there. And when she came across the horse, it was dead. The neck was broken.
a
Now
horse
one,
cow. Them
yeah,
things, their necks are so thick and hard.
yeah,
I mean, can you imagine the strength and power that it
oh
takes
yeah,
to break a horse's neck?
mm-hmm,
Lord have
yeah.
mercy. So here's what blows me away about every bit of this. Every time that I do an interview, the more that I do the interviews, the more I learn. And I do, thank you, by the way, I learn from everybody. And what it amounts to is this: the only reason we're still alive is because they're not quite ready to come into the cities where we are yet. Or maybe they just
Not
won't
yet.
fit into my house. I'm telling y'all that we're just sitting ducks. It don't matter what we have to protect ourselves. These
Oh yeah,
things, we're outpowered big time.
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
big time. Yeah.
if you ever think about it, I mean, we're
Mm-hmm.
just, we'll all run to the Pentagon and beg for help because
No, I know, right?
there's nothing we got to protect ourselves.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
anyways, um, let's see. When you said that your neighborhood, that you not have like many that's had sightings, is
Oh
there
wait,
an area?
I'm sorry. Is there what?
Is there an area that you have heard had multiple sightings, like that was somewhere near your area?
In the area that we live, people down this way, they've seen it. They've seen it run across the mesa, walking. I mean, as a matter of fact, just south of them is a little mesa there. It's run across there, yelling late at night, about 10, 11 o'clock. It yells loud.
They're
I
not
don't know if you've.
scared, are they?
Oh yeah,
They're not
but
scared.
yeah, we've had a lot of people down in our area that have seen it, have heard it screaming. I've heard late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, from 2 to about 3 gunshots going off, trying to probably scare it off or shoot it off. So what I tell the people is, if you hear this thing, if it starts turning the doorknobs of your
Oh,
home, if you have a car alarm, use your car alarm and set that thing off. It'll scare it off. Or if you have firecrackers, light one and throw it outside because it sounds like a gunshot and that'll scare them
yeah.
off. So if you can use those, now if you're going to use a gun, I tell them you got to be careful because you got people that live around you. Doesn't matter, to the south, to the west, east, north of you. If you get a stray bullet and hit someone, guess what? You're going to be going to jail. So you've got to be careful. So that's why I advise them to use their car alarm, set that off, or get some firecrackers, light that and throw it outside because that does sound like a gunshot,
I just wonder if
Uh,
I would have the frame of mind to
mhm.
do that, to grab for my keys and mash that
Yeah,
alarm, or to
yeah.
sit there and light
Hmm.
because to me, like I said, I was in a car and I still lost, like, I didn't know what to do. So if I was to ever see one face to face, Lord, I'm telling y'all, it wouldn't be good. Y'all would be reading about me in the
Yeah.
obituaries. I'm pretty sure. Oh my goodness. Just in case I forgot to mention y'all a while ago, because I'm pretty sure I missed some names. Gary, Spikes, we love you, buddy. Winkling Ken, we love you. Verax and Mickey G. And oh my goodness. Let's see. 1F Gear. Please ask Brenda to move the microphone a little bit out. Okay, go out a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Oh, she looked like a pilot, an important pilot, moving that thing. Uh, anyways, but yeah, I'm fascinated by these things, and uh, I'm having a lot of stuff happen around here. I'm gonna have to do another show on that. Um, I mean, a lot of stuff happened, and most of it got real bad the night before last and last night. So I'll have to do it in my opinion and make sure everybody knows about what's been going on around here. But I'm exhausted
Yeah, I
because
bet.
what's been going on for the last 2 nights.
Oh,
So it's going to be an earful when I get started. But anyways, but yeah, I tell everybody, just because you're in a city, don't think these things don't come in the city,
oh,
because
they
they're
will.
being
Yeah,
reported coming into small little cities
that's
right
right.
there in blocks and towns and stuff. Um,
I've had
so
reports of up there in the Farmington area. What do you call that? The red lobster. So the red lobster's right.
oh,
I mean, you look out that back window,
seafood,
and there's the river, and
seafood.
they go in the dumpsters,
Yes.
and they
So
start digging through
y'all,
these dumpsters.
do y'all see
Yep,
that? Do you see
yep.
what she said? Did you connect that at all with me telling you the last sighting was at Jack's on Rainbow Drive in Rainbow City, Gadsden, Alabama? The Jack's. It was seen in a cove. Well, guess what's right down the road? I mean, right down the road, just a couple doors down, top of the river.
Hmm.
Remember, I told you they love the dumpsters. And
Oh
so
yeah,
we just
yep.
discussed that was the last sighting in this area,
Hmm.
up until the last couple of days. So, anyways, there's a lot going on, and I want to learn all I can. And Miss Brenda, do you have a channel? Do you go and speak different places? Is there anything you want to promote while you're here?
I haven't gone out to see. The last place I spoke was what 2 3 years ago was in Little Creek, Colorado, where they had a paranormal uh, conference there. So I haven't done anything since COVID, um, because from 2020 to now, I kind of set things on hold
Yes.
because my husband had colon cancer, and so we almost lost him several times the past several years since then. So I've been
Oh,
kind of stepped back a little bit to take care of him,
well,
and
who
so
wouldn't? Who
yeah,
wouldn't? So
yeah.
that's
So he's
great.
doing good now, and everything's
Good.
good. So I'm
I love
kind
praise
of
reports.
doing stuff. Yeah.
I
So
love
I'm
praise
still out.
reports.
I
Pat
still.
Garrett. Hey, Pat, how you
Mhm.
doing, bud? We love you. Riley, Ron, Ivy Forrest. Thank you for joining us, you sweet thing. But anyways, I ask if there's anything that you want to promote. Do you have any books, or you want to name the shows that you were in one more time so people can
Sure.
maybe go look them up?
I do have a Facebook page, which is underneath my name, and then also I have New Mexico Shadow Seekers. I haven't posted anything there since, like I said, since my husband's been sick. So I'm getting ready to start posting things there again. So it's called New Mexico Shadow Seekers. That's my team name.
Cool
I've
name.
and then the TV shows that I've been on is Finding Bigfoot twice, and then Monsters and Mysteries, Ghost Adventures, and what do you call Unsolved Mysteries. And there's another one, but I just can't think of it.
You know
But
I'm gonna
yeah,
go back and watch the
yeah,
Unsolved Mysteries so I can see the one that you was in.
yeah.
Because I've only seen the one about the coins, and I
Oh, what they're
loved
going,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, some Monsters and Mysteries, and, yeah. And so I've been on those shows, and I've been on a lot of radio shows as well too. So um, yeah, just kind of look out for me, and I'll be posting if I will be having a Bigfoot conference here in New Mexico. Um, we may do a Bigfoot camp out, which I usually do for free. And people ask me, why do you do it for free?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
wonderful.
I just would like to see, and just get together with the people and have a good time, but also be careful and um, give them a chance to kind of experience some things out in the woods, things, what to do,
Yeah,
what not to
people
do,
think that, oh, I'm kidding when I say I've never been camping. Never been camping. So I'm planning on going on my first camping trip, hopefully pretty soon.
Oh,
Anyways,
awesome. Yeah,
so
that's
but
pretty much what I got going on for right now. But I don't know, do you have still a time for
well,
one more
y'all
story?
go and watch. If you're anything like me, I'm going straight to look at my Netflix because she was on Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. So, do you remember the exact like title or which episodes or?
I think it was, let me think here, Unsolved Mysteries with the Navajo Rangers.
Yes, Navajo Rangers. Okay.
Yes,
And yes, they were very professional,
oh
well
yes.
spoken. I remember that because I remember liking how they spoke. Um, so, everybody, this was Miss Brenda Harris, and I really enjoyed you, Miss Brenda, and you scared the pants off me come time for that doorknob to be twisted.
Oh,
Anyways,
I've
phew,
got another really scary story that will just kind of, this one will blow you away as well. Maybe the next time I'll share that one with you when we have some more time. But I don't know
well,
if you have time now or not,
go,
or
go ahead and share that story, and
okay,
you can end the show with that story.
okay, I will do that. Well, this was in I believe it was 2010. So I was with my sister at that time. It happened on a Sunday, and it was in October. I remember October, I think it was October 9th, 2010. So she had called me up Sunday morning, late in the morning, and she asked me, "Hey, let's go to the mountains. Let's go camping." So this is just gonna be me and my sister. So my sister at that time, she used to work with the Colorado. She was a PD in Ignacio, Colorado, and so I said, "Okay." I'm all excited, and I get all my gear, and so she finally comes and picks me up. So it's 7 in the evening by the time she picks me up. So we left, and we get out there to where I like to camp in this little, like a little valley area. And it is, I mean, it is pitch dark. I mean, just, well, almost sometimes it's almost like blackout. You can't see anything. So we finally get to this area about 9 o'clock. Like I said, it was dark. So we get there, and I pulled in, and there was a fire pit there. So I remember some other guys were telling me that, well, we're going to stay there. And they were there Saturday night. So when we got there, the fire was already, out and stuff. So I pulled in, and I got a little too close to the fire pit. So I got back into the right, and I pulled away from it. So we get out, and I said, okay, she's over here to my left, and I'm over here on the right side. And we're out walking, have our flashlights. And I had the car lights on. My Jeep lights were on, and we start picking wood so we can get the fire going. So, we get it all going and all, and then a few minutes later, my sister says, "Hey, did you hear that?" And I'm like, "No, what was it?" Because I'm over here making all kinds of racket, getting wood, pieces of woods and stuff. So, I'm just minding my own business, and she's like, "Hey, did you hear that?" I'm like, "No, what?" I'm like, "No, what was it?" It sounded like something like a thug, like boom, boom, I'm like, "No, I didn't even hear it." So we just kept on, getting more wood and stuff. Finally, we get enough to get the fire going. Got the fire going. So By this time, it was about 9:30. We got the fire going, and so we get our chairs out, and at the same time, we're still collecting more wood. And so we get that fire going. When I say we got that fire going, we got that fire going big, bright enough to where, we could see around us. So I'm like, okay. So, by this time it was about 10 o'clock, it started getting a little bit cold. And so I'm like, I'm going to go get my sweater. So I go behind the Jeep and I open it up. But when I get around the Jeep, I'm like, wait a minute, that wasn't there. It was a big log. I mean, a big log. Huge, probably, just, about like that, round,
Ooh.
big. And
How
I
long?
don't know how long, but it was long. I'm like, that's probably what you heard. This thing must have dropped it and it come rolling down. Remember when she said that, did you hear that, like something dropped heavy? That's probably what that log was. I'm like, oh crap, because when I pulled in, that log was not there. I know it wasn't there. And so I'm just kind of looking, and she's like, oh man, she's kind of scared a little bit. So I grab my sweater and I sit down right beside her. We're sitting by the fire. We're just talking. And by 10:30, she's just talking, fire, and we're just kind of looking at her. Every now and then we flash the light around us. And then I was like, okay, so where do you want to pitch the tent? Where do you want to sit? Where should we sit up to? Oh, no, it's okay. We'll just get some audio vocalization suite and we'll just record it and then we'll just head on home. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, all right, And so, I was all ready to get my tent all set up and everything. And she chickened out, really. So by 11 o'clock, she looks at me, she goes, there's something coming to the west of us and it's going from tree to tree. So, and I'm like, and so I flashed my light and I don't see anything. So we just start talking, we're just kind of laughing. And she keeps her eye in that one particular area. And she would say, something's coming, sis, and it's right there.
Oh my
It's
God.
coming. And she's like, so light, but I don't see anything. So I get up and I start walking towards where she's seeing it. So she's behind me and I don't see anything. So I go back and I sit back down and we're just talking. Oh, about 15 minutes later, she goes, oh man, sis, it's coming. It's right there. And then that's when we started kind of hearing branches breaking around us. One to the left and one to the right of us. And we got one over here to the west of us that's heading towards us, moving from tree to tree, which it was moving towards us. And so, by 11:30, she would just keep her eye on that particular area. So we're just talking. And then by 12 o'clock, she's like, it's really close. I know it's right there. I can see it. And then, aspen trees, the trunks are not very big, right? So
I don't even know what an aspen tree is.
they're white. So after the show, go on Google,
I
pull
am.
up aspen trees, and you'll see what I mean. They're not very big trees. The trunks are not that big, and so but they're tall, very tall trees. And so I go back over there and I start, flashing the light that way, and I don't see anything still. And she goes, it's right there. It's moving and it's coming right towards us. So we sit back down, we're talking and all. It's right there. See. So I flash the light and I go that way. When I flashed the light, but I didn't really say anything to her. When I flashed the light and it was standing, it was right along the side of that aspen tree. So when I flashed the light, the hair of it was reddish brown and it was like really veined. I mean, like, it wasn't like really matted or anything. It's almost as if it was almost like nicely combed.
I've heard that
just
before.
really,
I've heard that before.
And it was just standing there, but it, just right along the side, like it was trying to hide. It was standing there, and so I didn't say anything to her. So I wanted to see how much closer we could come in, and so we're starting to hear branches break around us, and I'll go back and sit down. And she goes, "Oh my, it's just right there." So I flashed the light, and I go back over there. So this one thing that I usually do is I'll take my camera and I'll just start taking pictures here and there, here and there. And so I stood there, and then all of a sudden I get this, just that stinchy smell. I'm like, oh crap, there it is. So I tell my sister, hey, come here. And so she comes over. I said, do you smell that? That was the mistake that I made. And I shouldn't have said that to her, because as soon as she got that whiff, she started throwing stuff in the truck, back into the Jeep. I mean, she was just, I'm like, oh, wait. I had to calm her down, because when they see that you're in panic mode, the faster they'll come in.
Oh, my
Now,
goodness.
there wasn't one, there was 3 of them. So I had to calm her down, say, hey, just calm down. It's okay. So, just put it in slowly as if nothing's wrong. Just calm down. So we still had to deal with the fire, because we had that fire going up high and it was bright. She was already on her knees throwing dirt on that fire. I mean, that she was so scared. And I had to calm her down. Like, hey, just chill out. I'll get us out. Don't worry. I'll get us out of here. Just calm down. And so, I mean, I'd never seen her so scared, just on her knees throwing dirt. And we got it out enough to where it'll be safe. Okay. So now we get into the ride. Now, when we get into the ride, in front of us, there's a little hump, and then you take a right to get, that, because the road is just right there. It's basically dead end right there. So we, take a right, and I start going. I said, okay. So I step on the gas, and all of a sudden I feel this tug. Something grabs the Jeep. I'm like, and she thought I was just messing around. I said, I'm not doing this. I said, can you go crawl in the back and go see did I get hung up on something? Oh, she would not budge. She was so scared.
Well, I wouldn't either.
And so, I tried to get her to go check, but she wouldn't. She was so scared. I'm not going back there. No way, I said, okay, hold on. So I put it in reverse and see if I can bump it. So I put it in reverse, stepped on the gas, nothing. So I said, hang on. And I took off. It's just a few inches. And then all of a sudden it tugs again. And she goes, you're messing around, cut it out. I said, look at my feet is all the way down on that gas pedal. And something's holding on to the Jeep. So I looked at her just now. That's the second time that happened. So she's just freaking out. And I'm like, just calm down. I'll get us out. So I backed it up again. I didn't feel no bump or nothing. Third time, so hold on. I said, man, I put it in drive, and I stepped on the gas. We went a little further up. And then again, just that tug, it just would not let us go. So I looked at her and said, you better get your gun ready. We might need it. You better get it ready. So she's getting that ready, and I did the same thing again, and I shoved it into drive. The 4th time, it does it again. I'm like, okay, these things don't want us to leave. She goes, I can see one. Says it's just right beside you. It's just right along that tree right there. I said, I can see it. I said, hold on. I stepped on the gas again, reversed it, and then I stepped on the gas, put it back in drive, and finally it let us go. And man, we hightailed out. And I tell you what, these things ran along the side of us all the way up till we got onto the main highway. And boy, that was really scary. That area, I like going back to that. After that incident happened, probably about a month later, I went back over there. I went back out there. And we've had some things that had happened when I took my 2 nephews out that way. I'll share that some other time with you. But that area there is very active. That's where I first heard my first yell back in 2009 when they did a whoop. And it actually came down into our camping area and was walking around in our camping area. And I tell you what, that that yell, that whooping sound was so loud, you could just feel the vibration coming off your chest, just like, you know, I'm like,
What
holy
to say? Yeah.
cow, that was loud, you know, 'cause I've never heard anything that loud before. That was scary, you know, because I've
Yeah,
never
they
heard
said
anything
that
like that.
their insides, their innards vibrate and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah,
Mm,
that's what happened with me and my sister.
Lord have
Uh,
mercy. Well,
she's
Miss
scared.
Brenda,
So
you're a brave. From listening to your stories, you're pretty brave, and you was trying to keep your sister level-headed. Well,
yeah,
that's the opposite of what I did that day when I had my sighting. But yet, when other people goes through anything, I'm the level-headed one. But when it come to this, it messed me up. I was not level-headed at all. Uh,
mhm.
just so I know, uh, I love you too, Sandra and Mike and Gary and Andrew and Gnomes and Sandra Piper and don't let me forget Freaky Geek and I got Pat Garrett and Gary Sp- I just don't want to forget y'all. You know I just love all of yous. Uh, but anyways, everybody go check out the shows that Brenda named, and I'm telling you from personal experience that you need to go to watch Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix, the Navajo episode, paranormal Navajo episodes where they have two investigators and
Mhm.
they go out and investigate paranormal cases. And she said she's in that one, and I'm going. That's what I'm supposed to watch. So,
Oh,
Miss Brenda,
also, I forgot to mention, I do have a YouTube channel that I
oh,
do
good.
have some investigation videos that I've done. It's under New Mexico Shadow Seekers. It's on YouTube with
Wow.
my name on there. So there's some other investigations that I've done on there. You guys go check those out. Where there's one where we had a sheep that was several sheep that had been killed. They had a puncture wound into the neck. All the blood was sucked out, and then there was like a little surgical slit on the side of them where all the insides was taken out, just laying there. So
Oh,
there's that video that's I think I have some pictures of that one
you're
on
telling
there.
me a small surgical slit.
Yeah,
They pulled all the insides out through that little small surgical
yeah,
slit.
yep. Something that killed a 300-pound ram. Just drug that thing out of the corral, just smashed its head into the ground, a puncture wound in the neck, and then like a cut on the side, and all the like insides of stuff was,
Give me the name of that
hanging out of it.
website,
Oh,
sweetheart. Give me the name right now.
yeah.
Give me
Let me see.
your website where
Oh,
you
it's
did
the website is New Mexico Shadow Seekers.
okay, New Mexico. I'm sorry, I'm writing slow. Shadow Seekers.
Mhm.
Okay, and the reason is because can you imagine how cool it's going to be for her to be out there doing hands-on, trying to find out what's happening to these people and their animals and stuff? Okay,
Mhm.
Freaky Geek, Victoria Bryant. Oh my gosh, Riley Ron, y'all know I love y'all. Marion L. Bott, if you're in here, and I think I said your name a while ago, I love y'all. And Keith from 1675 and Virax. Uh, you know that you are all special. We'll end it right there. Miss Brenda, thank you so much for coming. And man, what a good storyteller you are.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
And you come back and visit us anytime. You
I
just
sure will.
reach out if you have a night open and I'll put you on the schedule.
Okay,
So
sounds good.
we
I'll share
really
some more
enjoyed you.
stories.
Okay. All right, y'all. Good night. And we love you here. Bye, Miss Brenda. Thank you, darling.
Bye. Thank you. You're welcome.